Today I'm going to be putting 4 sharpeners to the test to see which one is the best, and I do have the affiliate links down below for all of these materials that I'm using in today's video if you want to check them out and support the channel further. Don't forget that I also have all of my social media links down below as well as my Patreon as well, so if you want to check that out, it is in the description. Let's look at the Helix sharpener. This was the cheapest sharpener and the most basic sharpener that I'm going to be showing, and I've actually had this sharpener for years. I don't normally use it for my artwork, but I wanted to give this a try today in this comparison video. So first appearance, it is pretty basic, pretty small, and it is just a one sort of port sharpener, and obviously it has the hole there that you put the pencil into, and it is a handheld sharpener. Next up we have the Derwent sharpener. This is a sharpener that I've been using for many years now. It is the Derwent manual superpoint sharpener, and it is a manual helical sharpener, one that you wind around and then just sharpen the pencil with, and you insert the pencil through the front of the sharpener, wind it up, and then the shavings go into the bottom tray. This sharpener has been one of my personal favourites for a long time, so I want to see how this one fares. Then we have the Swordfish Canister flip sharpener. This is one from the Swordfish range, but it is one of the more simpler versions of the Swordfish sharpener. But I have heard some really good things about this sharpener, so I wanted to try it out today and see how I felt it sharpen the pencils and how well it performs. And there's actually 2 ports that you can put your pencils in depending on what sort of size and result you're wanting to get. Then we have the Swordfish Ikon sharpener. I've heard a lot of great reviews about this, so I wanted to test this today. So I definitely want to give this a go and see what I think about this make and model of sharpener. It's very similar to the Derwent, where you put the sharpener in the front, and then it also has an anti-stop button as well, so when you wind up to the point of sharpening, you won't be able to wind it up anymore. And also the shavings go into the bottom of the tray, just like the Derwent, but it is just a little bit smaller. And then I'm just showing these pencils side by side so you can get a real feel for how they all look compared to each other, and they definitely are varying in size and shape and abilities as well. So let's first of all take a look at the Helix sharpener and give this a go. I have picked out pencils from the Faber-Castell Polychromos range. I understand that obviously they're different pencils and they're at different points of sharpening as well, so I am going to try and be fair and take that into consideration as well when I'm forming my opinions, but I really am just basing this off of how they perform in terms of sharpening. So the Helix sharpener, as I expected, was really not very good at sharpening. It didn't want to sharpen the pencil. I had a lot of difficulty getting them sharp, and I really had to put a lot of pressure onto the pencil, which I was quite worried about in terms of damaging the pencil. And also what I don't like about this sharpener is that there's no tray for it to go into, so the pencil shavings go everywhere. Next, I'm trying the Derwent pencil, and I am using a Faber-Castell Polychromos pencil, and I've just inserted this into the front and then obviously wound round, and you know that it's sharp when you actually feel the grip on the pencil get looser. So as you can see, the result of this is that the pencil is very, very sharp, and it's a lot sharper than the first pencil we sharpened with the Helix sharpener. I really like the result that I got with this sharpener. I would just say though that the very, very tip of the pencil is slightly blunt. But if we look at the shavings compared from the Helix and the Derwent, you can actually see how much finer the shavings are in the Derwent manual superpoint sharpener. Next, I'm trying the Swordfish Canister flip, and I'm using a green pencil from the Polychromos range, and I did obviously sharpen this in just one of the ports because I wanted to be fair and just use one port like the other sharpeners. So I really like this sharpener. It's the first time that I've used this, and I definitely was really surprised at the results that I got. It's a pretty lightweight and compact sharpener as well, so I was actually expecting this not to perform very well, but when I actually put this into the sharpener, I was really surprised at how well it sharpened the pencil. So next up, I'm trying the Swordfish Ikon, which I hear so many great things about, but I've never tried for myself. It's very similar to the Derwent Superpoint manual sharpener, so it did feel like I was using the Derwent, but it was different as well. And I noticed that when I was winding it up, it suddenly stopped, and that was the anti-stop mechanism in the sharpener, and that just lets you know when it's actually sharpened. I did have a little bit of trouble first of all getting this into the machine, but it was the first time that I used this, and it's not because there's a fault with the sharpener. And I actually think that it gave a very similar result to the Derwent, but I did notice that the very tip of this had snapped off, and again that's similar to the Derwent because the Derwent, the point of that was blunt as well. So this is all four of them side by side. I think in terms of the sharpest point, I would actually give the point to the Swordfish Canister flip. I feel that the point was the sharpest, and it definitely felt the sharpest as well when I actually rolled my finger over the top of it. So I actually think that performed the best. But obviously I understand that I was just using one pencil and just using the sharpener once each as well, so it's not really a fair comparison to do that. I definitely want to use the sharpeners more, so I wanted to try them again. And what I actually decided to do was make the pencils blunt and then re-sharpen them and see if the pencil sharpeners was able to perform the same as what they did the first time around. So first of all, with the Helix, all I'm doing is just trying to make this pencil blunter so that I can sharpen it again, and I did this for all of the pencils so that I could get them blunter and then sharpen them again to see what sort of result I got. The first thing that I did notice with the Swordfish Canister flip was that the end of the pencil broke straight away, whereas the other three didn't. So the tip was a lot more fragile on the canister flip. So if we have a look here, the pencil that I used with the Helix sharpener was very blunt, and I definitely didn't like that result, but the Derwent did perform a lot better. It didn't get as blunt as quickly. The worst pencil for getting blunt the quickest was actually the Swordfish Canister flip, and it was the most fragile point as well. It broke straight away. And then the Swordfish Ikon, again, I would say was very much on par with the Derwent manual sharpener, so it held its point for longer, but it did go blunt. And I'm just showing you a bird's eye view of the pencils as well, so that you can see how blunt they were. And I definitely think that the Helix was blunter than the Derwent, but I do feel that the Swordfish Canister was the bluntest of all the pencils, and it was actually starting to scratch my paper as well. And the Swordfish Ikon was very similar to the Derwent in my opinion. So comparing all the pencil sharpeners together, I would actually say in fourth place I would put the Helix sharpener because it is very basic. It did the worst job at sharpening the pencils. It didn't get them very sharp at all. And also what I don't like is that there's no tray for the shavings to go into, so it causes quite a mess. In third place, I would actually put the Swordfish Canister flip because although it had a really sharp point, it was very fragile and broke very easily, and even with very light pressure. And I'd actually say out of the Derwent and the Swordfish Ikon, I would have them pretty much on par with each other, so either one is going to give you a really good result, and I will use both. So I really hope that you did enjoy this video, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye guys!